Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Tom, the CEO and co-founder at Moropo. Hello.
Hi Christian, thanks for having me.
Super excited to have you. Please tell us, what is Moropo?
So Moropo is a mobile app testing platform for product companies and app developers. So instead of manually testing your mobile app, you can use our product to record test flows and rerun them and inspect the results.
What would you say is the biggest problem that you solve for product teams?
The biggest problem is the time that it takes to do testing. So to give you an example, it only takes 30 seconds to send a tweet on Twitter. But to test each and every feature of Twitter across multiple different mobile devices takes over 3 hours. So with mobile app teams, they're often shipping bug fixes and new features all the time. So if you've got someone that has to go and manually do that job, it takes a lot of time out of the team and it requires a lot of focus. So the main thing that we do is that we empower the people who are really good at testing. So product managers, founders, people who really know the product well and what it should do, but we empower them to save 55 minutes for every hour they would typically spend manual testing.
What are your best features?
So there's kind of three main feature sets. One is the test recording and authoring. So we have two ways of doing that. One is through a scripted method, and one is through a no-code recording method.
Okay.
So that's a good feature, and that's kind of where you have to start. But I think the feature that we're most proud about is the results inspection. When you go through an automated testing process like Moropo, you end up with hundreds, if not thousands, of screenshots and hundreds of thousands of lines of logs and results and videos, and someone has to go and work out whether the app is broken or not as a result of those. So it's really easy to tell something that's gone wrong, like if flow is completely broken. You've tried to do a checkout flow, you've tried to log in and it hasn't worked. That's really easy for us to report back. But sometimes there's small cosmetic issues in the flow, like a button is rendering slightly further to the left than it should do. And our results inspector allows you to go and see that really quickly and really easily. So I think the results inspector and having all of those test results in an organized and easy to understand layout is probably the thing we're most proud of.
For non-technical people, can you please explain how the tool works?
Sure. So when you use any mobile app, it's a series of actions or steps, right? So you know it's effectively your thumb, and your thumb goes through each screen, and you might be tapping, you might be swiping, you might be using your keyboard to input information.
Yeah.
And the user will go and do that manually. With our tool, we are able to encode those particular actions, and we can then go and replay those actions on different devices. So when you use Moropo and you tap submit on the submit button, we go and monitor that submit button and we say, okay, Christian has pressed submit. Okay, now he's swiped up. Okay, now he's put his email address into the email box. And every single interaction that you put in, every single step of that test flow, we capture. Once we've got that captured and encoded, we can go and replay that across lots of different devices. So, you know, you might only have iPhone 13 at home, Christian, but your users of your mobile apps might be using all sorts of different devices. They might be using different Samsungs, you know, Galaxy Pixels, Google phones, you know, Xiaomi's, older iPhones, but also iPads, you know, larger screen sizes. They might be using older versions of operating systems, you know, or you might only have access to iOS 15, but your users might mostly be on iOS 14. And so what we're able to do is take that one flow that you recorded, and it might have taken you 2 minutes to record that flow, and then we can go and replay that across dozens of different devices, different operating system versions, that if you had to go and manually do that would literally take you weeks of effort.
Now I understand better. Thank you for sharing. Can you tell us the pricing for Moropo?
So we are in our early access phase at the moment.
Okay.
We haven't released any pricing.
Okay.
We're looking at that as part of our program, but we are due to launch this summer, July or August time. We should be announcing a date in the next month, and we'll release our pricing when we do that.
Were you the first company to solve this particular problem?
No, so there is a lot of competition out there. Traditionally, this space has been dominated by open source projects.
Okay.
So there's some legacy projects such as Appium and some more recent products like Detox in the React Native space. These are open source libraries where teams have to go and take them and have to go and work out how to use them and how to implement them in their organization. The approach that we've taken is that actually, if you're a developer in an organization and you're working on a mobile app, you want to spend time working on the features and bugs that are important for that specific mobile app, for that specific use case.
Yes.
You don't want to be spending time working out how to set up Appium and working out how to install a device farm and hook up everything and configure everything. So although we're not first, we are fairly unique in terms of offering an off-the-shelf solution. But it's a very hot space, and there's lots of competitors moving very quickly at the moment.
When did you start the company, and how did you come up with with this idea?
So for 3 years, I ran an app development agency called Moropo. We founded in 2019, and that agency grew really well. We had a really good, successful run of it. Unfortunately, testing was the thing that kept coming back to bite us. We were producing good quality apps, but the testing was shared between our project manager and our client. And the time that it took to go through and run all of these tests and get to a high level of confidence before release was really killing us, and it was really frustrating for our clients. So they kept saying, "Hey, is there anything we can do here? Is there anything you guys can do to make this process easier for us?" So we looked at some existing open source solutions, and we tried out some different setups. And what we found is that after a month of setting up something and getting it to work, people would stop using it. They'd be like, "Okay, we it took us hours and hours to set up this automated testing solution for you. Why are you not using it?" And they're like, "The results are hard to look at. The triggering the tests is really annoying." We built this big list of frustrations with existing testing infrastructure. And at that point, we decided to go and apply for a grant in the UK. So there's a body called Innovate UK who offer this smart grant. And it's a very low win percentage. I think less than 6% of applicants get any money. But we thought, hey, we think we've got something good here. So we put in our application, and we were really surprised to hear a couple of months later that we won. So we're able to take this government grant and feed it in and try and solve this big list of frustrations that we'd built up working in the agency.
And you still own the agency? Did you sell it? Did you close it? What was the
I'm still involved. Yeah, I still own part of it, and I'm not involved in day-to-day operations, but I'm there to kind of help steer things when need be.
What's your best piece of advice for founders that looking to switch from agency to SaaS? Maybe own some shares in the agency, keep it, but not be as operational as before, and focus on a new product.
Yeah, I think definitely focus. You want to have that clear-cut line. You need to prioritize the product. What we decided to do was actually buy another agency and bring in their managing director to run our agency, so that we knew we had someone who was already experienced in running a business, running an app development agency, and could just take over the reins over a 6-month handover period. If you don't have confidence in the right person taking over and taking those day-to-day operational things away from you, then you probably need to go and shut the agency.
Understand. How big is your team right now at Moropo?
At Moropo, there's 7 of us.
And again, what's your best tip for a founder looking to hire a development team? Sure.
I mean, we were really lucky because most of the development team that we brought across from Moro, so we didn't have to go and completely hire the whole team fresh.
Yeah.
But our hiring tactics for developers, I mean, I've hired maybe 30 developers over the last 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
There's a couple of things that we found worked really well. One is headhunting directly through communities and open source projects. So, looking at the specific technology stacks and libraries that you use, going on to places like GitHub, seeing who's contributing good code, who's asking interesting questions, and just start to, find them on Twitter or whatever and just start to build a relationship with them. We also hang around in Discord channels a lot and see who asks good questions. I think what we look for is people who don't necessarily have all the answers, but they know the right question to ask. That's a really key indicator of someone who doesn't yet have years of experience, but has the potential to grow to become a really great developer.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And how about a non-technical founder?
So both me and my co-founder are technical. So he sits in the CTO seat. My background is a software developer, and so I've moved away from that over the past few years. In 2019, I was writing code every day as a full-time developer, and then when we started the agency, I moved less and less. Now I write code maybe every 2 months, and it's not very good compared to what it was a few months ago, a few years ago rather. So yeah, we don't have anyone with marketing or sales experience, so I've had to try and learn that section of the business as I move away from being a technical co-founder.
Apart from the government grant, did you raise any funding?
No, so we had to match our government grant 1/3 from our own pot. So we're partially bootstrapped, which is money that we retained from agency business before, and the rest was from the government. So we're hoping to stay bootstrapped, but we're gonna see how things pan out over the next 18 months.
Absolutely. What has been your biggest challenge since starting the company?
Our biggest challenge has been technical. So
Still technical, so now marketing or sales related.
No, actually, the technical stack is incredibly deep and complicated, and we underestimated slightly how far we'd have to go and how many real blockers and technical issues we had to deal with. So we were hoping to have something ready back in January, but we're still working through issues. So yeah, it has been technical. I think that, Christian, there's going to be a lot of sales and marketing challenges to come, but we don't have to deal with those quite yet.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think has been your best tactic for gaining attention, for getting new people signing up to the beta version?
So we've lent on existing network a lot.
Okay.
But so I have a LinkedIn profile that has a couple of thousand followers that we've leveraged from the agency. But the main thing is trying to be as authentic as possible. So we've been putting out product releases and blogs around the product in terms of showcasing our progress to date. And we have a waitlist as well, where I post regular updates around how we're doing and how we're getting along. And I think people are interested in that, and they want to be part of something new. And we're fortunate in that the problem that we're solving is a really painful one for a lot of people. We even have people who see us as comments on canny posts and forum posts from other companies and other products that are related, and they're they click through from that because the need is so great that they're willing to do 3 or 4 click throughs in order to find something and still give away their email address. So the problem is a big one, and that is a great asset for us.
What is your vision for the future?
Our vision for the future is really around the results inspector. Right now, our competitors have very simple results inspectors, but it's a very underdeveloped place. And what we want to do is become the Figma for testing. So
Awesome.
a collaboration space where you can go and see all of your test results. You can comment on them in real time, and you can see them from a broad view and look at different aspects of quality in your mobile app. Because mobile app quality affects a lot of things for people, especially at the moment with churn being such a huge factor in the mobile industry.
Yeah.
So anything that we can do, we have some big visions in terms of product ideas and feature ideas on this space that I don't want to share too much about yet.
Yeah.
But anything that we can do to empower people to improve their app, has a great ROI potential for them.
That's a fantastic vision. I'd love to hear your backstory. So how you started your career?
So I've been an entrepreneur for many years. Moro is my first successful business, but even when I was 14, I was selling plectrums to the kids in guitar class. And me and my co-founder had a few different ideas in our early 20s that we worked through and eventually gave up or lost in various manners.
Yeah.
So there was one particularly one. We were working on an app which was a temporary working matching service, kind of like Tinder, but for casual restaurant work. So if you were a waiter and you wanted a job in a restaurant, you could, and hiring managers in restaurants could like swipe left and right. And my co-founder Charles and I were writing it, and I sent a message to him. I was like, "Hey Charles, I'm looking for a restaurant job as like a test data," and then it came up on his screen 5 times. We're like, "Oh, we're not very good at coding, are we? We should probably go and get better at coding." So we were working for a big corporate at that time. We both quit our job in the same year, and we went to go and work at different startups to try and get experience in the industry and try and learn a bit more rapidly in a smaller team, take on more responsibility. So we did that, and we came back 3-4 years later as senior engineers, and then got it and founded Moro together at that point.
What's the best piece of advice for a technical person that's looking to start their business?
For a technical person who's going to start their business, I wouldn't recommend being a solo founder. I would always recommend having a co-founder.
Yeah.
So if there's 2 technical co-founders, you need to work out pretty early on which one of you is going to become the non-technical co-founder, because you've got a lot of learning to do. As a developer, I was very shy and socially shy in my 20s. I spent a lot of time working from home in a room with just computers, not many calls, not talking to many people, not meeting new people. And so getting out there and meeting people and networking is really tough. So, all technical co-founders, I'd recommend going and doing that. Really push your comfort zone out.
Yes.
Because when you need to have a meeting with that crucial investor or that important first client, if you've not trained yourself to have conversations with the outside world, then you're gonna get stuck in the mud pretty quickly. I actually went through some formal sales training, which was really helpful. There was lots of different bits in there around human psychology, which is really helpful. Not useful just in sales, but useful across all sorts of business.
Thank you so much for sharing. What's your favorite SaaS product apart from Moropo?
What's my favorite SaaS product? That's a good one. Probably Slack. It's everywhere. I use it every day for many, many hours, and our entire company is run inside of it. But also all of our collaborations as well. I'm really envious of the network effect that Slack have from their Slack Connect product, where they've just got everyone to invite all of the other businesses they know. And I'm really interested to see where they go with it. I know Discord are trying to chase them on some bits. I think it's going to be a really interesting place to see how it plays out.
Those are my main questions. Is there anything else that you want to share on today's podcast?
If you've got a mobile app or you know any mobile app teams, go to moropo.com, moropo.com, sign up for the waitlist, and when we launch later in the summer, you'll be the first to find out.
Thank you so much for joining, and I really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Christian.